Hey guys, Ken here with Hobby Harvest. Today I want to talk to you about 8 key things you should consider before setting up your trail cameras so that you ensure you're getting more pictures of deer and more pictures of those old wily mature bucks as well. If you didn't know, setting up your trail cameras poorly can have a negative effect on the deer herd in your area. Your deer should not know that those cameras are there, but if they do, they will start to avoid that area, especially those big mature bucks. They do not like cameras and they will not go near them if they aren't hidden. So the first thing to consider is the location of the camera. Obviously, you want to put the camera where it has the best chance at getting pictures of deer. So this would be someplace like a choke point or a funnel. This could be because there's a gap in a fence, or it could be just topography based. Or it could be that you put in a travel corridor through some thick brush in the woods, and they're now using that travel corridor to travel to other attractions. That also brings up that putting cameras on attractions is also a very good opportunity for getting pictures of deer. Now, a mock scrape is an awesome place to set up a trail cam location. I did do a video on how to make a mock scrape. I'll link that at the end of this one, so make sure to check that out. So once you're set on a location, the second thing you need to consider is what tree to put the trail camera on. Now you need to pick a tree that is wider than the camera. You do not want that camera being a big, obnoxious bulge off of that skinny little sapling that you put it on. You also want to consider what does it look like behind it. You ideally want some like branches or brush or something also behind the camera to sort of break up its outline so that it's harder for a deer to see that. That brings me to one last point. If you're going to use the strap that the camera came with, make sure to get it as tight to the tree as you can and wrap any remaining length of that strap around the tree and don't let it be just hanging there blowing in the wind. Now, if you don't want to use those straps, you can use things like paracord as well to hide the camera even better. The third point I want to bring up is the direction you face the camera. So once you found an attraction, you found a tree, you want to make sure that you face your cameras north. Now, this is more of a photography tip because the sun is always going to be south at any given time of the day. Even though it rises in the east and it sets in the west, it will travel to the south overhead. You'll always have your lighting then behind the camera shining on whatever you're trying to get a picture of during the daylight. This way you don't overexpose your lens and end up in a situation where a nice buck walks by your camera and you can't even see it because the sun's shining right in the lens of the camera. So that brings me to the fourth thing. Once you've considered all of those, we need to make sure that this camera is placed on the tree at least 6 feet off of the ground. Now, I'm a little over 6 feet tall, so I always just put the camera just above my head level, so it's like right up here when I'm setting it. You don't want to put it too high up the tree if you're shorter that you like need a ladder or a stump or something to stand on to check it. You do want to still be able to get in and out easily to check these. So don't make it too difficult on yourself when you go in to check them, but the higher the better. So deer are only about 3 to 4 feet tall where their head and eye level is at. So when they're just looking straight through the woods, that camera being up another 3 or 4 feet, their eye isn't going to catch it as easily if it's higher. If you put it right at their eye level though, they're going to see it and you're going to risk them avoiding that area now. This brings me to the fifth tip, and this is the angle you place the camera in relation to the attraction. Now, if the attraction is something like a mock scrape, just put that mock scrape, or if it's a water hole, right in the middle of the frame, and that's a good setup. But if you're setting this up just on a trail and you're trying to catch the deer that are walking down that trail, you don't want to set it up just perpendicular to the trail, because by the time the deer walks by, the camera triggers and you might only get a picture of the rear end of the deer. So you want to make sure it's angled more down the trail so you can get them coming and going and you get a better vantage point of what's actually traveling through the area, and you don't get those delayed triggers that show you a part of the animal that you're not that interested in seeing. If you guys feel like you're getting value from this video, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, I'll be able to bring you more content like this. So the sixth thing I want to talk to you guys about is the access to the trail camera. Now, if you can get into that trail camera without even having to go near that attraction or that trail or whatever. Now you're not leaving that extra scent along that trail. So a lot of times I will set my cameras up, say anywhere from 10 to 20 yards off of the trail, but I can access them from behind, so I don't even need to go where the deer are going, and that's just that much better for you to not leave your signature in the woods for them to figure out that you've been there. Now the 7th tip I want to bring you is, once you have your trail camera all set up, you have all of these things taken into consideration, you need to take a look at what the camera is seeing, and you need to go in there and you need to clip out any small branches, anything that's going to give a false trigger to that camera and set it off if the wind were blowing it around. So you just want to go in and make sure everything's cleared out in like a V in front of the camera, so that you're not getting those false triggers that are filling up your card and killing your batteries on you. Now the 8th and final tip I have for you guys is how to set some of the settings on your camera. Now all modern cameras have a photo or a video option. The advantage of having video, I have found over the years of doing this, is once we could do video, we could see a lot better what the deer were actually doing. It wasn't just a still in time. It was, this deer walked in here and then wandered off in this direction. And also with bucks, as they turn their head, you can see better what their antlers look like and better identify your bucks than having just a straight on shot at their antlers, and it's hard to tell what they are if you only get one picture of them. And then if they are set to video, I've also found that about a 15-second video pretty well encompasses everything that you're going to see as a deer moves through the area. I have my delay set to immediately repeat the shot, but you may not want to do that. You may want to set that delay a little higher, especially if it is on something like a bait pile, if it's somewhere where you can legally bait. And a doe family group feeding on that overnight could fill your card up and drain your batteries in one night of having that infrared light on for all of those videos. So that is something you want to consider, but if it's just like a mock scrape or a trail, you can probably set the settings so that it just repeats as soon as they go through the area, and you should be fine. Now one last thing I do want to talk to you guys, if you haven't bought your cameras yet, I will link the ones that I use down in the description. I think I got them for somewhere around $40 to $50 a piece, and for how good they are, that's really the best value I've found. I did just check them out, and they are more expensive than that, as everything has gotten more expensive, but they do go on sale from time to time, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. They're a real good quality camera that isn't going to break the bank. Alright guys, I hope these tips will help you get more deer on camera. I hope you got some value out of this, and I'll catch you on the next one.